Our Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Training, Mr. Mduduzi Manana, has dedicated his life to developing those who are on the margins through his drive and passion for youth development. Born and bred in Emelo, Mpumalanga, he joined the Congress of the South African Students, COSAS, and the ANC Youth League, as you know it, at the tender age of 14. He was part of the 33 South Africans who volunteered as human shields during the Second War of the Gulf in the Middle East in 2003. Mr. Manana has the distinction of being the youngest member of parliament and has been the Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Training for 4 years. As a former South African Student Congress member, he understands the plight of students. Please help me welcome our Deputy Minister.
No, thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Vivian, the Chairperson of the institution, Dr. Marco Saravanja, Founding Directors, Dr. Penny Law, and Mr. William Vivian, the Chief Executive Officer, Ms. C.G. Brownlee, Mr. Ackerman, the founder of Pick and Pay Group, his beautiful wife, Mrs. Wendy Ackerman, and the Pick and Pay team, other business leaders who are here, Mr. Siyabonga Gama, the Group CEO of Transnet, who just left to attend to another pressing matter, esteemed academics in the room, the Regenesis team, special guests to this ceremony, graduates and their families, distinguished guests, members of the media, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, it gives me great pleasure, and it is indeed a profound honor to be invited to this graduation ceremony and to deliver a message of support on behalf of our government. This ceremony takes place at a time when the higher education sector is facing some turmoil. However, as I was saying to Dr. Ackerman or to Mr. Ackerman this morning, we refuse to be despondent because we have committed ourselves, working with our stakeholders in higher education and the private sector, to finding lasting solutions to the funding crisis in higher education. We will find a solution. And our young people will indeed access free and quality higher education, targeting mainly the poor or those young people who come from poor families and from working class backgrounds or environments. We are proud of our students who have led this noble struggle, demanding access to higher education. However, we condemn any form of violence that has now come into the picture. We condemn the banning of our institutions, of university structures, and we call on our young people to return to class so that we can go on with the business of education, but as well so that those who are readying themselves to exit the system are able to do so at the end of this academic year, and those who are expected to come in the 2017 academic year are able to do so without any hindrance. But we are providing leadership, Mr. Vivian, and we will work with all role players, including the private sector, to find these long-term solutions so that indeed we create an army of educated and well-skilled individuals in South Africa, and in that way we will be in a position to fight the triple scourge of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Program Director, Regenesis Business School became a private higher education institution in January 2001 and has developed over the years into an institution that its founder members can really be proud of. I would therefore like to congratulate the school for this achievement, which demonstrates that private higher education institutions can play an important role in the delivery of quality higher education in South Africa. Last year I missed the graduation ceremony, but since then I can announce that the Department of Higher Education and Training has developed new regulations for the registration of private higher institutions, which came into effect on the 24th of March 2016. With this new legal framework, the department now provides more clarity and administrative efficiency for private higher education providers. And in this regard, I want to highlight that the new regulations now makes provision for private higher institutions to form legal partnerships with public higher education institutions. The new regulations thus recognizes the importance of building strong and effective relationships between the public and private higher education sectors in the delivery of post-school higher education and training in South Africa. Since the split of the Department of Education into the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Higher Education and Training in 2009, the latter has invested great energy and thought into restructuring the post-education and training system, commonly known as the PSET system. Whilst the next 5 years of this administration will seek to consolidate the gains of the last 20 years of our democracy, the department has equally redefined the trajectory of the post-school education and training system going forward. As with the past 5 years, the 2014 to 2019 medium-term strategic framework places education and training as an apex priority, and this would include private higher education institutions who in most cases are complementing the programs offered at public higher education institutions. And of course, as we know, a majority or most of our private higher education institutions are linked with employment opportunities, and they do offer an alternative to the public system. Esteemed graduates, in building the PSET system, we are guided by the National Development Plan and the White Paper on Post-School Education and Training, which emphasizes the need to break the vicious cycle of unemployment, inequality, and poverty through education and training opportunities. One of the White Paper's main policy objectives is to establish a post-school system that can assist in building a fair, equitable, non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic South Africa, and therefore the system must position itself such that it is able to respond to the needs of individual citizens and employers in both public and private sectors, as well as to broader societal and developmental objectives. Whilst there have been strong focus on vocational related skills aimed at government's push for infrastructure development and industrialization as key drivers of economic development, we acknowledge the need or the urgent need for training at all levels in all fields in both the area of scarce and critical skills covering all diverse range of occupations. So the contribution that private higher education institutions are making in our economy is acknowledged, even though that has yet to be quantified. As I have noted already, the department is attempting through the new regulations to build partnerships with the private higher education sector. Initial developments in the private higher education sector were indeed challenging and demanding for both the department and the private sector. However, the formal regulation of the sector has indeed relaxed some of the blockages that were there in the past. As you all know, private tertiary education was not regulated before 1998, and in the absence of regulation, excesses were evident in a number of institutions where there was poor quality in instruction and lack of accountability of students or to students. Many of you will also remember the emergence of fly-by-night colleges and institutions that exploited disadvantaged students, robbing them and their families of the little money they had and providing very little training in return. We are now dealing with these and other transgressions, and in the spirit of building partnerships between government and private higher education providers, we urge private institutions to equally assist us in rooting out institutions that are not registered and some registered institutions that practice outsourcing or franchising of their programs with respect to registration, tuition, teaching and learning support, and assessment and certification. The new regulations deal specifically with such matters, and this shows how serious our department is when it comes to outsourcing. It is my hope, ladies and gentlemen, that private higher education institutions will assist the department to ensure that the private higher education sector is free from all these illegal activities. In this way, we can continue to enjoy proud moments like this graduation ceremony, where we can confer high-quality degrees and certificates from equally esteemed private higher education institutions. To date, we have 96 registered institutions, 30 provisionally registered in the country, offering a total of 642 programs, including 4 doctoral programs. This means that there are far more private than public higher education providers, but with less student enrollments. Be that as it may, what matters most to the department is that the students do receive quality education, which in some instances is comparable to that which is offered at public institutions. Private institutions will have to play a key role in widening access to higher education. This would have to be accompanied by some innovative remodeling. For example, providing programs that assist in articulation from school to higher education, articulation from program to program, and transition from learning to employment. I must say that private institutions have responded positively to the stringent requirements for registration and are now providing programs ranging from higher certificate programs to postgraduate programs in a range of fields. The programs offered by many private institutions complement programs offered by public higher education institutions. Esteemed graduates, South Africa needs a diversity of institutions and program offerings to be able to respond to the needs and demands of a diverse student population. In this regard, the 3 quality councils, that is Umalusi, the Council on Higher Education, CHE, and the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations, QCTO, play a critical role in guiding the system in program development and quality assurance. I'm hoping that private providers will rise even more to the challenge and continue to build on its strengths. The good work done by Regenesis Business School is an example of what is possible when you have a vision, passion, and focus. You have set excellent examples of what can be done when you combine student training with the experience of those who have already accomplished success in their respective careers. Such a close link between education and training, career development, and employability calls for a rethinking of how we view many of our institutions. We can certainly learn a lot from an institution such as Regenesis from a public sector point of view. Perhaps there is merit in referring to some of our institutions as career colleges, a concept that would recognize the distinctive role played by these institutions in offering advanced certificates and diplomas with a vocational focus. In closing, I wish to congratulate Regenesis Business School on establishing a niche market in the area of business education and public management, and for achieving recognition as a quality private higher education provider. In this regard, the department is appreciative of Regenesis Business School's contribution to education and development in this country, its resilience in overcoming earlier obstacles, and its sincere and genuine commitment to make a positive difference in the lives of not only students, but the country as a whole will not go without notice. We remain committed to the policy objectives of the white paper. Equally, we endeavor to ensure that programs and institutions are in line with the principles of the National Development Plan, more especially with regard to economic growth and skilling the nation. Through our post-school education and training, we will no doubt move South Africa forward. Our road to 2030 will be a radical one, but the objectives will be achieved. We thank Regenesis for providing these opportunities to our young people, and we congratulate those scholarship recipients, and we say to them, study and study hard. Congratulations to all of you. May your journey to the future, may you journey well to the future, and may you continue to contribute to South Africa's development. Thank you very much, and thank you for the attention.